Hi there, this is Maggie here with the latest edition of Thoughts from a Changing Mind. It's been a little while since I last did my video, and sorry for that, but lots happened since then. The last video was just before I went on my trip down to Arizona to see my special friend down there, and that went perfectly. It was beautiful. It's going to be, I hope, a very bright future, and I'm just very blessed. And hello to her, she knows who she is, and yes, it's going to be an amazing direction for me in my life. So like I say, I'm very, very blessed, and I'll share more with that with you as the time goes on. But yeah, the trip went very well. I also went to a wedding about a week and a half ago, and that was very nice, and I'll touch on that a little bit more in just a minute. And I'm also continuing to do some work on my house to try and get it sold, and along with all of that, carrying on my journey. The last week though, it's been very much like the start of Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, which says, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I've had all range of emotions in the last week. A week ago, I'd done some work on a roof leak, and I put a patch in there, and I thought, great, this might do it. And then we had some storms on Wednesday night, and sure enough, the patch held up, but the water just found another way in, and so it was still pouring in, and I was faced with the fact that time was running out, money was running out, my options were running out, my patience certainly was, and I could see all my plans just dissolving in an instant. And it was a very desperate feeling, because I thought, what do I do now? I had no way forward. Thankfully, I won't go into all the details at the moment because it wouldn't be appropriate, but thankfully a solution has presented itself thanks to someone very special, and now it's just a matter, we've got to try and see if we can get someone to repair the roof as quickly as possible, so we can still get the house sold before the end of the year, so that we don't run out of money and patience and everything else. But from what was a very desperate situation, the kindness and support of a very special friend has now restored options. The wedding, like I say, was a very beautiful occasion. It was very intimate, very loving. But the one thing that everyone would pretty much agree on was that very little went to plan. There were a lot of things that could seriously have derailed that wedding. But fixes were put into place that in the end led to a very beautiful wedding. And it was a very interesting lesson that sometimes you don't need things to go to plan. You don't need things to go right all the time to still have a very beautiful outcome. And it's also easy to think when you're at your lowest that your happiest occasions, your happiest times, the way you feel safe and secure, that those times are just never going to repeat themselves. You'll never get that back. And yet, sometimes when things are toughest, that's when the most beauty shines through from other people. And as I mentioned before, about if you're worried about something, if you're struggling with something, don't be afraid to say so, to talk about it with someone, because that gives them the opportunity to help, to show support, even if it's just sending love. That helps. And if you don't open yourself up to, yes, I'm struggling, yes, I'm having a trouble, people may never know. So when you're at your darkest time, don't be afraid to verbalize that, to let other people know. But also don't forget that that may be just the point where the light is going to start. The dark, it seems very dark now, but a millisecond later, that's where the light can start, and where the brightness can start, and the love, and the repair, and the fight back. So even if you don't have the strength to see past it and get yourself out of a desperate feeling, allow someone else to. Give them the chance by telling them the mood you're in, the things that are going wrong, so that they can at least try and help. And if not, put you in touch with someone who may be able to help. A community, a support group is essential, but it's only as good as your honesty and courage to actually use them. So make use of them. And that was brought home to me, and very humbling that I can't do it all on my own. You know, it takes a village, as they say. One other thing was that on my trip, I had a lovely trip, but when I came back, not only was it sad to leave, but also I was worried about a situation I was coming back to, because I thought that it was something to do with me having had such a nice time, and then I was going to have to deal with it when I got back. And I assumed that it was, as I say, to do with me. Turns out it had nothing to do with me. It was, in fact, something that person was going through themselves, totally independent of me. And that their reaction, therefore, was perfectly understandable based on their own situation. And the only reason I mention this is because sometimes we get so invested, so concentrated on our own journey, our own problems, our own thoughts, that we forget that other people have their own journeys and struggles and problems and thoughts. And they not always, and they certainly don't have to be, in synchronization or in line with ours. And whilst we will sometimes, a sponge for affirmation and love, sometimes we need to be open-minded enough, even in our toughest times, to actually see that other people are going through other problems that we may still be able to help with, even though our lives are difficult. So when things are at their toughest, still don't miss a chance to help someone else, because not only will it help them, but it will help you too, and may be just what you need to get you out of your situation. So I'm only just learning this. I'm not saying I know it all. I certainly don't. I'm learning this as I go, and that's why I'm sharing these thoughts of a changing mind with you, because you may find yourself in a similar situation and just feel that one or two of these words will come back to you, and it'll help you get out of the funk quicker. Anyway, that's good enough for now. I hope you're all doing well. It's lovely to speak with you again. Hopefully again talk to you soon. And in the meantime, big hugs. Bye for now, babe.